Hey, I'm Vivek. I've been building and running sales teams across companies like Notion, Stripe for the last 13 years in the San Francisco Bay Area. Let me tell you one thing I haven't done, which is be out for a nice walk while a bot is running in the background, answering emails, and actually scoring leads for me. One of the hardest things being someone who doesn't know how to code is trying to figure out how I instill my taste in what good looks like into an application or into an algorithm that's being built by a bunch of engineers who don't. And that's really what today's video is about. I'm going to show you how I was able to put together an application that essentially does exactly what I want it to, and was able to iterate on it and get the results that I wanted to see and have it run in production using Wordware. So this is a simple example of a lead scoring workflow that I'm going to build in Wordware. And just to get started, I'd like to show you how it works. So there's a trigger whenever a Slack message gets sent in a certain channel that I've configured it for. Wordware will execute the following workflow. So there's a scoring rubric here, and it includes what I want for Wordware to do whenever a new lead comes in or a new user comes in. And there's a bunch of domains that I want it to score really low because they're generally not the best domains. I'll configure this to take the input from Slack, which is a variable here. So the trigger that I created up here is actually an input variable that I can use to feed to an LLM. And this right here is a structured generation that's calling GPT-4o, the LLM. I could actually use any model here. You can see all the common ones that are available for creating structured content. There's actually over 70 models you can use with Wordware, but these are the ones that can create structured generations. And the reason I want a structured generation is so that I can ask the model to output very specific things that it receives from the Slack message. And also within here is where the model is going to score the lead using the rubric above to assign a score between 0 and 100. Now I have a loop here that is called lead creation, which if the lead score is greater than 60 based on the scoring above, it will send that particular new user a welcome email. And the welcome email configuration, which is going to use my Gmail, is set up here via an action. So this demo is really showcasing us using a trigger from Slack and an action to send an email through Gmail. And there's an agentic workflow that's scoring the leads as well as sending an email using that. And if it's not a lead that is above my scoring bar, then I'm just going to ignore it and do nothing for now, just for the sake of this particular small workflow. So let's see how it works. I can run it, and you'll see here that this is taking the latest lead from Wordware, and the lead was actually scored fairly high, 65. And I want to be able to show you that essentially the email here is going to come to my email because that's the way I've set it up. And of course I have a email here that is sent with my calendar link for the lead to sign up for a time with me. Now the first step is to hit this button on the left to create a new flow. And the first thing we're going to do is give it a name. So we'll just call it demo Slack to email. Now, the first step is to add a trigger, and the trigger that I want is with Slack. And whenever I get a new message, and I've authenticated my Slack account, and the channel that I want to listen for is called Bot New Users. So I'm going to create this trigger here. And the first step it's going to ask me to do is to trigger this event, pull up Slack, and you're going to send in a message in this channel that I've specified. And in just a moment, you should see that this was triggered. I'm going to select that event to choose which event should trigger automation. Use the selected event. Okay, trigger configuration complete. So I've configured the trigger. Now I want to really define the mechanism with which I want this flow to run. And I'm just going to write this in plain English, and just for the sake of time, I've written it out previously. So I'm just going to grab the scoring rubric and the instructions. This is the first prompt, and it includes the email domains that I don't want to include. So we'll grab that. So we've got that there. Now, the important part here is to then bring into this, and you can think of everything that's here as basically a prompt that's going to go into our LLM generation. So I'm going to actually mention Slack. This is just an object reference to this previous trigger. It's going to take all the content from whichever event in Slack actually triggered the use of this workflow. Next, I'm going to put in a structured generation. So a structured generation is a call to an LLM. In this case, it's going to be GPT-4o, that includes all the content that you want to come out of the LLM in a structured format. So I'm going to create an object first here, an object field. This object's going to be called, first of all, let me name the generation. This is going to be called lead creation. And then this is going to be called lead. And in this object, I'm going to have multiple fields. So first is going to be a text field. It's going to be first name, last name, email address, domain. And I can basically give the LLM instructions on what to put into this field. So the instruction here is going to be first name of the lead, last name of the lead. Now, usually the LLM would actually just get this, but I'm just being extra certain that it knows what to do. Extract the email domain from the, and then I'm going to add a lead score. And this is actually a really important piece here. So I'm going to instruct it to use the rubric above to provide a score between 0 to 100. And that's basically it for the lead creation. So now that I've got the output from the generation, including the lead score, I want to do something intelligent with it. So I'm going to use an if-else statement here, such that if the new user's lead score is greater than 60, then I'm going to use this email and actually use action with Gmail to send them an email. And I want it to be to new user signups email ID, Wordware founder meeting. I want the email body to be the output in the code block, and I can run the test. So I'm going to use my personal email or my work email, and let's say I just want the output to be blah blah. This is the test email that's going to send now. So we're successful, and you can see top of my inbox, blah blah, worked. Great. Now, if if the user's or the lead score is less than 60, so if it's, right now I'm saying if it's, or actually I want to say if it's greater than 60. Now, if it's not greater than 60, I just want to, for now, ignore, don't do anything. Great. So we've got the full flow here, the trigger, the scoring mechanism, the actual generation that gives me output information as well as the score, and then what to do if the score is greater than 60, which is send an email. So let's run this. Basically, we're going to get some new information here. Lead score was 85, which means that we're going to send them an email. And yeah, that's how it works. This email is going to go to johndoe@techcorp.com, which is a fake lead that I created in Slack. So for now, not to worry, and we should be good to go. Thanks for watching. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching and seeing how you can build something in Wordware and get it running in just a few minutes. Something that's really powerful. Lead scoring is essentially a multi-billion-dollar market that no one's really cracked, and I was able to build a quick lead scoring sort of system using plain natural language as quickly as you saw. And this is one of those things where there's so much more to be done here, and we've actually automated so many of our processes like this internally. They just run on their own and allow me to really focus on what matters, which is meeting with customers, meeting with the right customers, and working with them to solve their everyday problems using AI. So yeah, get in touch. I would say you should feel free to check out the links to our Wordware Actions and Triggers beta, as well as check out the product. And feel free to get in touch if you want to learn how to do this yourself.